Hi, Pocket. Monster Hunter Wilds. It's the newest, the biggest, the flashiest in a game series about intense battles hunting giant monsters with giant weapons. But yes, this video is about cooking. In Monster Hunter Wilds, an unfed hunter has significantly reduced health and stamina. Simply taking a bite of any ordinary well-done steak will raise these thresholds for 30 minutes, presenting the first major buff food has to offer. But it's far from the only buff. In Wilds, we aren't getting delicious dangos or gourmet meals, not usually. In Wilds, a hunter often cooks for themselves, and these self-made meals on the barbecue spit can be customized to give greater buffs alongside the health and stamina increases. In this video, I'll be going over the ingredients and the finishing touches currently in Wilds, what they do, and how to get them. The first thing you'll select is which type of ration you want to use as your main course. This is a simple choice between meat, fish, and veggies. Meat will give you an attack boost, fish a defense boost, and veggies will give you a smaller defense boost with a little elemental resistance. Most of the bloodthirsty hunters will pick meat, but there's nothing wrong with picking up some extra defenses. Pick whichever you like, as the bonuses are quite small. I like veggies because I like seeing all the elemental resistances go up. This only costs a ration, which can be obtained from this little Canteen kitty. Ingredients are obtained through trading with the various villages found in the story. Simply adding an ingredient will raise the meal's effect duration to 50 minutes, from the usual 30. There are 10 different possible ingredients, but don't worry, there's only a total of 5 distinct buffs. For each of the 5 buffs, there's a lower quality ingredient and a rarer, higher quality ingredient. Starting off with the fluffy egg and airy egg. Including either of these ingredients will grant the Caprice meal buff, which will randomly and temporarily give the hunter attack boosts throughout its duration. The fluffy egg gives the weaker version of the buff, and the airy egg gives the stronger one. Out of all the ingredients, this is the most offensive, so if you're looking to do a lot of damage, the fluffy and airy eggs are the way to go. These eggs are acquired by trading with Suja. Next, there's the Drool Shroom and Deli Shroom, which give the hunter the Black Belt meal buff. This works like the armor skill Constitution, reducing stamina depletion from actions with a fixed stamina cost. Keep in mind that these buffs don't affect stamina draining moves like Dual Blades Demon Mode or simply sprinting. For mitigating stamina drain, that's the Marathon Runner skill. Black Belt Meal helps with moves that eat the stamina bar in chunks, either by blocking or dodging usually. Drool Shroom grants the weaker form of this buff, and Deli Shroom the stronger one. These shrooms are obtained by trading with the Wud hideout. Then we have Kunafa cheese and sharp Kunafa cheese. These grant a buff called Defender Meal, which sometimes reduces damage taken. It's a bit like Divine Blessing in that way, which makes it very useful when hunting something unfamiliar or difficult. The sharp Kunafa cheese gives the stronger buff, with the normal cheese giving the weaker one. This cheese is obtained by trading with Kunafa Village. This next one is great, the Mud Shrimp and Turbid Shrimp. These ingredients grant the Tumbler Meal buff, which increases the invulnerability period when evading. Evade window is one of the strongest defensive skills in the game, in my opinion, so having even a small buff to this tied to your food can be great. The Mud Shrimp is, unsurprisingly, the weaker version of this ingredient, with the Turbid Shrimp granting the stronger one. These shrimps are obtained by trading with Azuz. Our last 2 ingredients are Silled Garlic and Specialty Silled Garlic. These give a buff called Moxie Meal. What this does is prevent a hunter from fainting once when struck by an attack that would deplete their health. In Rise, this was called Feline Moxie. In World, there was an armor skill called Guts that did the same thing. The stronger version of this buff, from the Specialty Silled Garlic, actually heals the hunter when its death-defying effect triggers, whereas the normal version simply leaves them at 1 health. This, alongside the Palico's ability to revive the hunter once, can make even a reckless hunter's first life extremely durable. This garlic can be obtained by trading with Silled. After picking out your ingredients, all that's left is a finishing touch. There are only 6 finishing touches, with 6 distinct buffs for each one. These are obtained by trading, but some of them can also be acquired in the world. First, there's Eastern Honey. This gives the buff Medic Meal, which increases the amount of health recovered when healing. It functions like the armor skill Recovery Up to help squeeze the most out of those mega potions. Eastern Honey is obtained by trading with Silled, from giant vigor wasps, or occasionally from gathering honey. It looks like it's mostly from the honeys that have the little sparklies on them. Next, there's a Jeweled Mullet Roe, which grants the Swimmer Meal buff. This is an attack boost, but only when the hunter is wet. A situational buff for certain monsters or locales, or at least to soften the blow of getting hit full force by Mizutsune's water beam. as every gamer collectively shouts, "Worth!" This can be obtained by trading with the Wud hideout, or sometimes by catching a gravid bowfin. Monster Chili gives the sizzling meal buff, which completely negates hot and cold climates, like the adaptability armor skill, and even increases defense when actively negating those. It can be obtained by trading with Kunafa, Azuz, or the Wudwuds. Truffle de Conga dropped a bunch during my 50 Conga hunts. This gives the Gatherer meal buff, which sometimes increases the number of resources gathered from bones, ores, or other gatherable items. Stack this with Geologist and Botanist for a gathering fiesta. Truffle de Conga can be obtained by trading with Rove of the Ice Shard Cliffs, sometimes by fishing up a Gastronome tuna, or as a dropped shiny from Congalala itself. Wild Herb grants the Immunizer meal buff, which, like the name suggests, helps to protect the hunter against ailments. It can be obtained by trading with the Wudwuds at the Ruins of Wyveria, or occasionally from herb nodes. So, I had said this, but when I went to actually find some, I could not, even with the Forager's Luck set bonus to increase the spawn rates of the rare shiny nodes. The only luck I had was during an herb upsurge where there was a ton of shiny ones all together, so I farmed a bunch. Make sure to look out for herb upsurges. Lastly, the Wild Seed Oil grants, in my opinion, one of the strongest food buffs, Specialist Meal. This increases the potency of abnormal status attacks. For weapons that want to apply abnormal statuses, those being sleep, poison, blast, and paralysis, this is just a buff to those weapons' main output. Wild Seed Oil can be obtained by trading with Azuz or the Wudwuds, or occasionally by gathering sparkling nut and berry nodes. Sometimes characters in the world will offer you a meal. You can tell this by seeing the little icon on the map, or if you notice the pop-up on the side of your screen. These are great because they come fully loaded with buffs, and even some unique ones, all for free. I recommend getting them immediately whenever you can, because if the character waits too long, they will just throw away your meal because it got cold. There are 4 characters who will offer you meals: Yasai from Kunafa, Maki from Azuz, Tashin from Sild, and the Allharkin from Suja. Every one of these meals comes with one of the ingredient buffs, alongside Insurance Meal, and an additional unique food buff that can only be obtained by eating their specific meal. Insurance Meal is probably the single most impactful meal effect in the game. What this does is simply negate the first feint from affecting the feint counter on a hunt. Normally, fainting not only brings a hunter much closer to failing the hunt, but it also reduces Zenny rewards. Insurance Meal makes the first feint free, which can be a huge safety net. Yasai's unique food buff is called Lucky Meal, which simply increases the rewards at the end of a hunt. Yasai also gives the stronger version of Defender Meal. Maki's unique food buff is called Carver Meal, which gives a chance to get more carves out of monsters. Important to note that captured monsters can't be carved, so if you've got Maki's buff, it could be better to go for a Slay instead. Queen? Maki also provides a stronger version of Tumbler Meal. Tashin's unique food buff is called Capture Pro Meal. As the name suggests, it rewards a hunter capturing monsters, giving them more rewards for quests completed this way. Tashin also gives the stronger version of Moxie Meal. The Allharkin's unique food buff is called Exploiter Meal, which has the chance of giving multiple materials instead of one whenever a monster part is destroyed. The Allharkin also gives the stronger version of the Caprice Meal buff. If I had to pick one of these as my favorite, it's probably Tashin's. I'm not the best about capturing monsters, but getting Insurance Meal and Moxie Meal together is pretty crazy. Your first would-be death gets stopped by Moxie Meal, and then your second can be stopped by your Palico with Vigor Wasp Revival. And finally, if the monster still isn't done yet and can knock you out, then that first feint is covered with insurance. A truly durable and reliable safety net for any hunt. In Rise, I would never go into a Valstrax fight without Moxie and Endurance from food. Yes, these unique food buffs are as good as they sound, and in Wilds, for the first time in a Monster Hunter game, a food buff can last through multiple hunts. If you have a Capture Pro from Tashin, it might be a good idea to go on a capture spree, or put those Trank Bombs away when Maki gives you Carver Pro. And, at the end of it all, if these buffs weren't enough, don't worry. You can get 2 more food buffs from a different list of 13 random meal buffs. If an ingredient was used in a dish, that meal will grant 1 random buff, and if a finishing touch was used as well, make that 2. These are smaller buffs overall and range from almost entirely unimpactful to niche usefulness, so I'll go through them a bit quicker. Piping Hot Meal gives a big attack boost when health is very low, and Break Time Meal gives an attack boost after using the kickback gesture. Rider meal makes mounting easier, and Bulldozer meal gives an attack boost after an attack is deflected. Fortune Hunter meal increases Zenny rewards by 50%. Trainer meal increases Palico experience by 50%, and Top Cat meal boosts Palico defense and attack stats. Riser meal increases invulnerability when standing back up, and Escape Artist meal reduces stamina depletion when fleeing from large monsters. Iron Carver prevents knockback when carving, and Balance meal helps to keep you from getting knocked back on your butt. Party meal protects a hunter when standing on lava, and Fisher meal makes it easier to fish. Most of these are usually pretty unimpactful, at least for me. The most useful ones are probably Rider meal and Riser meal, but who doesn't like extra money from the Fortune Teller meal? If you pick up a free meal from one of the 4 generous story characters, it will come with 2 random skills baked in, but I'm not sure if those ones are not so random. If you know more about that, let me know. Maybe there will be an advanced cooking video someday that can go over more specifics like that. Once you've prepared your favorite meal with all your bonuses, make sure to save it as a favorite so that you can have it on speed dial when your friends are all ready to hunt. If you liked this video and want to see more like it, maybe I missed something important, or perhaps you're a fasting hunter who thinks that food is a crutch that makes the game easier for idiots and that's the hill you die on, let me know. Thanks for watching, fellow hunters. Good luck, Godspeed, and goodbye.